Boomer moment.
Wow, good on you.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think you said you muted us, so
Yeah,
make sure the audio is unmuted and
yeah,
all
I've already
that.
done that.
Because you've done that before where,
Yeah, let's not talk about that. All right. Hey, there's a lot of buttons for me to press. It's complicated shit. Yeah. All right, and the TV's going here. Let me go and pause. All right, guys, we're going to get started in a sec.
I... Hello, everyone.
Sorry about the late start, guys. We were literally just sorting out news stories, and I thought we'd actually we're streaming, but apparently someone had clicked the start record instead of the start streaming. So, how are you, Satellite? How's things?
Yeah, pretty good. Just tired.
Know the feels. All right. So, guys, we do have a little bit to talk about today. So let's just get straight into it. And I can't figure out what's going on with my mouse. My mouse just stops every now and then. I think it might be drivers related. So, guys, let's jump into it. So, obviously, Andrew Tate is suing his victims for defamation. But apparently they're not staying silent. All right, so, yeah. It's weird how the media is focusing on this, because it's like, well, yeah, if someone's claiming that you've done something and you think you're innocent and you haven't, of course the logical step would be to sue them. The media seems more upset about him actually suing the victims and having the audacity to sue the victims rather than the fact that they, according to him, are lying. So, yeah, it's weird, but, you know, Matrix do Matrix things. So Andrew Tate is suing victims for defamation. They're not staying silent, which they probably should. But anyway, lawsuit is cruel and a malicious attempt to spread disinformation, according to a statement. So a law firm representing some of the accusers of Andrew Tate, the kickboxer turned alpha male influencer turned, ST, has issued a statement defending Andrew's alleged victims after he filed defamation lawsuit against two of them. We are deeply concerned by these developments. Well, duh. What did you think was going to happen? In which our view amount to nothing more than a cruel and malicious attempt to spread disinformation. Disclose personal and private information. Really? That's weird. I haven't seen their information, but anyway. And attack those brave enough to speak out against their abuser. The statement by McCure Jury and Partners, which represented 4 women who have accused the former kickboxer of ST, or SA. Now, let's do a quick Google search on this law firm. Because what is the bet that these guys are deal with the Me Too movement? If I type in Me Too, I'll get a whole bunch of other stuff. So they're internationally renowned specialist legal practices and consultants, apparently. Let's go through. I'm just trying to find if there's been any other cases that these guys have done where, like, for example, it's been proven to be false. Because that, like, could help, like, decide whether it's false or not. Like, if these guys have a history of, for example, of going through and representing, say, for example, they represented, Amber Heard, then, you know, that would be obviously, you know, sort of leaning me in the direction that they're, you know, could be fake. I can't see anything about who they've represented in the past. There's just a whole bunch of stuff about Andrew Tate. Hey, Asteroid, how are you, mate? Is that you, is it?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the name, yeah. Right. I can't see about anybody they've represented in the past. Yeah, I can't see anything about who... What is the... No. I can't see anything about anyone they've represented, so that's interesting. But let's keep going. So they have represented 4 women who have accused the kickboxer of SA. While we have experienced these attacks firsthand and had disinformation spread about us over social media, including claims that we do not exist, we stand in solidarity with all our alleged victims of Tate. Interesting, because like if you're claiming that's disinformation, you could then countersue him, right? So why aren't they? Makura, Jury and Partners is not representing the women who have been accused of defamation, but Jack Bunston, attorney for... Okay. Right, okay, this is interesting. So, Mercury, Jury and Partners is not representing the women who have made or been accused of defamation. But Jack Bostonic, an attorney for the firm, told Rolling Stone his client made the statement in solidarity with them. So, these lawyers aren't working on behalf of the women who are the air quote victims. They're working on behalf of someone who is standing in solidarity with the victims. This is starting to smell a little funny to me. What do you think?
Yeah, it's got a smell.
Yeah, the law firm does, however, represent 4 women seeking legal action against the brothers Andrew and Tristan for VR's serious physical assault and controlling and coerced behaviour. According to the firm, it included 1 woman who alleges that Andrew choked her during sex without consent. I know a lot of girls that get off on that. And rendered her unconscious. Okay, then obviously there'll be like medical reports, right? 3 of the women brought the allegations to the UK police in 2005. Right, so hang on, they brought this to the UK police in 2005. Sorry, 2015, and nothing's happened? That's kind of smelling a little bit too, but okay. Only for the investigation to be dismissed in 2019 due to lack of evidence. Wow, okay. According to the prosecutors, Andrew has denied the allegations and the claims, and that the women are acting out of revenge for him flirting them, for him firing them for his camming business. Right. In representatives to the request for the comment, the spokesperson for the Tates told Rolling Stones, as citizens of the USA, Andrew and Tristan benefit from their constitutional right to seek relief by means of legal proceedings. Resolve should be sought in the court by anyone who believes they have a victims of wrongdoing. Therefore, we will not be making any public comments about this case. So, just to clarify what we know so far. These women, well, the person that's made the statement regarding the court case and against the defamation isn't actually representing the women at all. Not in this instance, right? It is, however, representing the women in other areas But these are other areas where the women have gone to the police and the police have rejected or denied the or cancelled the investigation because of lack of evidence. Right.
It's pretty weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Just hypothetical situation here, Sat. Right. If your partner right now was to go to the police and say that you S-hate her or that you choked her unconscious or whatever, what and you know she could prove it, what do you think would happen to you?
Pretty sure I get arrested.
Right. So it's been 10 years, almost 10 years. These women first went to the police, who then have turned around and said, sorry, hun, we're denying this or we're closing this investigation due to lack of evidence. So now she's now gone to the court case or the judge or to a law firm to try and seek remunerations or payment. Right? Interesting.
No, yeah. At least in Australia, I think you, depending if you live with her, you would also have to leave the premises.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
And she gets to stay there.
Yes.
Even if it's your house.
Yes.
Yeah.
I personally know this has happened, not because of me, but because of family members. Yes.
Yeah.
And they turned up to be for it too, by the way. At the end of the day, the reason, like, for the women that are sitting there going, oh my God, you're such a bigot. Like, oh my God, you just don't believe women. No, I don't. My family has had about 3 cases where people have made false claims to the police. Every one of them has been fake or false.
We still don't have any kind of reform as to making false claims to the police, right?
No.
There's still no reform on that, is there?
No, it's sort of like there's supposed to be something, and, you know, there's always something if you could, you know, if the police could be bothered about it, but at the end of the day, they generally don't. Especially if it's a woman making a claim and it turns out to be false, they generally just say, you know, tough, too bad. And like in one of these situations, there's kids involved, so like, you know, that he can't really do anything because what's he going to do? Leave her? Never see the kids ever again? The kids are like 1 and 3.
Sad.
Andrew and his brother were detained in December 22 by the Romanian authorities and placed into custody on suspicion of ST. The arrest came on the heels of the April 22 raid of the compound. I love that, in fact, they call it a compound. It's a mansion, but not a compound. After a call was placed to the US Embassy reporting that the American woman and a Slovenian woman had been lured to Romania with the promise of romantic relationships with men and were being held by them against their will, which we now know is complete and utter false. Because there's videos of them going shopping and waiting for an Uber outside, waiting for the Uber going shopping. So, like, I don't know about you girls, but if I was being held against my will and I could go shopping unattended, I would probably take the opportunity to run away. Just, you know, thoughts. The Tates have vehemently denied all allegations, of course. And even if he is guilty, of course he's going to do that. With a recent interview with Tucker Carlson, which I've just finished watching, listening to anyway, is being prosecuted for recruiting girls to make TikTok videos, which is basically their claim, actually. Look, at the end of the day, here's the thing. I just love the fact that the media is more caring about the fact that, oh my God, and it sounds like what the media is claiming here is, oh my God, Andrew Tate has the audacity to sue victims for defamation if they've made claims against him.
Yeah.
How dare he be such a misogynist? But we'll start hearing soon that if you start taking women to court, it's a misogyny. Guaranteed that'll happen, eh? But like I say, yeah, it's basically them claiming like let's just say these women are lying, right? And these are fake claims, which I believe they are. My personal opinion. That the media seems to be more angry about him taking them to court and standing up for himself. And this is not the first time we saw this either. We saw this with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Right? The argument that the media was saying was like, how dare Johnny Depp take Amber Heard to court? Like, yeah, guess what? You lie about a guy, he's going to take you to court and sue you for defamation. It's called
and he won too.
Yeah, and it's called being a grown-up. You know, and it's called accountability, which some women seem to be lacking very much. But like I say, I really, if you've lied about someone, guess what? If you lie about me, I'm going to take your ass to court. Even if I don't need the money, like Andrew Tate obviously doesn't. To be honest, I think it'll be funny if he went through and donated this to the MRAs. If he wins this, because apparently he's suing them for like $5 million. If he goes through and wins, like, can you imagine, like, him just like, yeah, okay, yeah, MRAs have $5 million. It's on me.
Do these women have $5 million?
Well, dude, does Alex Jones have $1 trillion or $1 billion or whatever it is?
Yeah.
$1 trillion, wasn't it? They claim he has to pay back.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Like Alex Jones has to pay back like the sum of like some small countries. Yeah, so he's just these women will just simply go through and file for bankruptcy and then go and in 6 years and start making OnlyFans. Actually, to be honest, these girls they claim that they were on webcams. So apparently, Andrew says that they're upset because they were fired for their webcam business. So I'm guessing these girls probably have OnlyFans already.
They might have $5 million then.
Well, yeah, if they're doing that, yeah, who knows? But obviously, Andrew Tate sues Florida woman claiming false allegations that led to arrest. Controversial media personality Andrew Tate and his brother are suing the Florida woman, saying she falsely accused them for imprisoning her in Romania, leading to their arrest on human tea trafficking. Yeah, didn't want to say it, but anyway.
Just notice how funny that she's from Florida.
Yeah, Florida girl. Probably Miami. So the widely followed former professional kickboxer and brother Tristan are seeking at least $5 million in the lawsuit. So, yeah, accountability comes hard and fast, babe. Like I say, look, at the end of the day, obviously everybody's innocent till proven guilty. And, well, no one, Andrew and Tristan have not been charged with anything yet. I believe they've had charges filed, but not been charged or not been arrested for anything yet. Anything you want to say about this before we sort of jump onto the next thing, or?
No, I'm all good.
You're all good? Yeah. What do you think about the Tates? Do you reckon to be innocent, guilty? What do you reckon about this? Do you reckon she's full of it, or?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if he would win a case, but it's likely that the girls are lying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Yeah, girls that do webcam wanting attention. All right, so jumping on to the next one. This is actually something that you recommended. It's this is about, I believe, this is about birth rates around the West falling.
Yeah, it is that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, guys, let's go through and let's.
Is in the grip of a baby drought. We just aren't producing enough children to maintain our population without the help of immigration, and even that's not guaranteed. With fertility rates declining worldwide, the reason mostly is economic.
Starting a family comes at a price, one many are no longer willing to pay. Australia's fertility rate is near historic lows and falling fast. The number of babies per woman is generally 2.1 just for a stable population, but Australia is currently 1.7, similar in most developed nations, and in South Korea a mere 0.8. Globally it's 2.3, falling from 5.3 in 1963. Only Africa bucks the trend at...
Oh, wow. We're just pausing there for a sec. Do we want to talk about Africa having a 4.6%? And what the possibilities and why the West has such a low population rate compared to Africa?
That is, yeah, I was actually quite surprised about that, by the way. I didn't know that the sub-Saharan African birth rate was that high.
So, just curiosity, I'm not sure, maybe they could tell us in the comments. Does sub-Saharan Africa, do they have a lot of feminism over there, or?
Oh, no. No, they do not.
Do they have a lot of people with, like, blue hair going around screaming about me patriarchy and the wage gap?
Yeah, no, they don't.
Do they have a lot of women in the workforce, or they mostly stay home and look after kids?
Actually, that is an interesting one, though. So, generally, their women don't work.
Right.
However, in some areas, they actually do have the women and children working. So, for example, if you go over to the the cobalt mines,
Yep.
they have child labor.
Yeah.
They actually have quite a lot of child labor at the cobalt mines, and the women and children and men all working very hard to dig up the cobalt. So
For electric
that's an
vehicles.
interesting one, though.
For the electric vehicles.
Correct, it is for that, of course.
Yeah.
Although if you were to talk to any company about their supply chain, they vehemently deny this.
Of course. And also they use cobalt and also lithium as well. So just to refresh, Sub-Saharan Africa has a replacement level of 4.6, which is well above the 2.1, which is what we need to obviously keep replacement levels. But they don't have a whole bunch of feminism. They don't have a whole bunch of women screaming about patriarchy or running around with blue hair. And for the most part, most of the women are at home, or the whole family's out working together. Is that right?
Yeah. So just in like the city areas or in like the more normal areas, the women don't work, but there's child labor and women working in some areas. Another interesting little fun fact about fertility rates and religion specifically, the Christian and Islamic religions are very resistant to Western programming. So yeah,
Because
that's another one too.
Well, because they've also got a strong male lead family member. B, they don't use contraception. They don't generally... Oh, they do believe in the pill, but they generally don't use condoms. If they're, like, fanatical sort of thing about it. I don't even think Islam actually uses the pill, actually. So at the end of the day... But hey, don't worry, Western women. Your levels might be below replacement levels, but at least you can complain about the wage gap.
Interesting thing is secular Muslims, their fertility rates drop just as much as everyone else's in the West.
So what's a secular? What's a secular?
Oh, is when they drop the religion.
Right, gotcha. Yep. When they become and atheists or something like that.
Yep.
Yep. Interesting. Let's keep going.
6, but that's falling too. Climate and economic conditions contributing factors.
This baby drought that we are seeing is probably set to continue in the coming years.
I just saw the speech bubble. I'm a psychopath and a communist and bare-faced liar. He's obviously added that. Sorry, that just cracked me
the
up.
trends of more women obtaining education and the impacts of the environment continue to play into the decision.
Australia is not running out of people at this stage. The population shortfall will be made up by immigration. But the numbers suggest in future many countries simply won't have people to spare.
That's the excuse we're being given.
Right, so I've paused it as he started walking through the forest. Am I supposed to stop it there?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's a good idea, usually. Otherwise, he'll say something that gets you nuked.
Gotcha. Alright, so let's try not to nick the channel ourselves, but I agree with the speech bubble. One's reading a teleprompter and the other's a barefaced liar. Because we all know why this is happening.
Yeah.
The rich, the elites, the governments realize that if they gave women a role in the workforce, they could double taxes.
Yeah.
But
There's multiple reasons for the dropping birth rates. Some we can talk about, some you can't.
Well, at the end of the day, also the fact is that we've got birth control that is widely available. We've got women that are now going and studying. Women are more likely to go to university than they obviously go into the workforce. By the time they get all this done and they've started to get ahead in their career, they're probably 30, 35.
Mm-hmm.
To use a movie reference, her womb is polluted by that stage. And at the end of the day, she can't have kids. Or it's very hard to have kids. And if they do have kids, there's a high chance of them having autism, Down syndrome, or some sort of medical issue.
Yeah, there's another thing that happened as well that's quite sad. A lot of women froze their eggs back in the day. Don't know if you remember it. There was some ads on TV back when we used to watch TV. And they were talking about get your eggs frozen, blah blah blah. I think they were like late '90s, early noughts, early 2000s ads. Unfortunately, about 10 odd years later, 15 years later, when these women went to actually go get their eggs, they found out that due to various issues such as failures in the cryo chambers where the temperatures rose, and the eggs had been spoiled and the women were never told. Other incidents such as power failures or the companies just shutting down and them never finding out, stuff like that. So a lot of women, when they went to actually go get their eggs, they were not there. Or they were ruined.
It's interesting, isn't it?
That was very unfortunate for them, yeah. That happened.
Very, very interesting.
That was sold a lie.
Yep. And it kind of makes you wonder if that might have been the point.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, speaking of the fertility rate thing, do you want to dovetail to the Kamala Harris clip? Oh, man.
Yeah, actually, I didn't actually bring that up. Let me bring that up.
Yeah.
So, what did she say?
She basically was talking about, she's basically talking about a bunch of things we can do to make the environment better, reduce population, and then our kids can breathe fresh air.
Yeah, so we've got the gaff here, guys. This goes for about 1:15. So let's just listen to Kamala in her own words.
And so we set an ambitious goal to cut our greenhouse gas emissions in half by 2030 and to reach net zero emissions by 2050. The investment we are announcing today will help us to achieve these goals, and it will do so much more. Because think also about the impact on not only the local economy, not only on an investment in the entrepreneurs and innovators from and in the community, think about the impact on something like public health. When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
I just turned it up, guys.
Think of the impact on family budgets. When we help folks upgrade their heating and cooling systems, we lower the cost of electricity, which means lower energy bills for working parents, so they have more money for groceries and home repairs and school supplies.
I didn't hear her mention it in that clip.
Senator Marshall.
Have they edited?
And so we set an ambitious goal to cut our greenhouse gas emissions
This clip.
in half
Interesting.
by 2030.
They've
And
cut
to
the clip.
reach net zero emissions by 2050.
Yeah. It
The
was
investment
edited
we are
out.
announcing today
Forbes
will help
edited
us
out
to
that
achieve
part, I
these
think,
goals,
somehow.
and it will do so much more. Because think also about the impact.
Yeah, Forbes has edited it out. Wow.
To reduce population, she means pollution.
Yeah. So let's go to... Okay, Fox News probably shouldn't edit it, right? Let's go to... I just want the part where... Okay, this is someone else has reposted it.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
So there they are. We heard when we reduce population. Let's listen to it again.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
Now, they're claiming that she's supposed to have said when we reduce pollution.
Okay,
Which-
wait a minute. That clip you're playing on Twitter, do you have the ability to run it slow? Like, at, say, half speed, and we can read her lips and see what she actually meant.
Yep.
When we
Yeah, and she
invest
says
in
pollution
clean
or population.
energy and electric vehicles and reduce population,
So she does say population, but they're claiming that she slipped and she's supposed to have said pollution.
It's a plausible thing because she's literally talking about environmental
Yeah.
clean air and water.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know. How many times have these politicians and we've seen so many of these types of gaffes.
Yep.
And they're always the same type of gaff pointing in this direction of like people being reduced in some way.
Yeah, so
many people have done it.
my question would be, or my statement on this would be this. I think she meant to say pollution, but she knows the whole time that it's pollution. She meant to say pollution, but she knows the whole time she actually means population. Like,
Yeah.
it's a subconscious thing. I think at the end of the day, she knows they're trying to reduce the population. Right?
Yeah.
But when she said it, she meant to have said pollution, but she knows full well, subconsciously, that's what they actually want to do.
Yeah, I think it's called is that called a Freudian slip?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, and obviously the replies on this are obviously interesting. This can't be an accident. Someone else. Now I know what they are hell-bent on supporting and protecting the letter people. Yeah, because it also reduces population, right? What happened to Philadelphia? Someone's posted like people on drugs. John Kerry's private jet emitted more carbon in a single flight than your car in her entire lifetime.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, yeah, like let's face it, like if you were a conspiracy theorist and believe that they are trying to reduce population, right? You look around. What have we got? We got people that are going through who are getting gender reaffirming care when it comes to identifying as whatever. So that's reducing their ability to have kids. In fact, it's actually called a trans something that starts with G. You've got women that have been forced or pressured to get into the workforce, who are to go to university, get a job, make some money, give the extra money the government to the tax, and pay extra in taxes, which is also causing them to not have kids. You've got birth control that was invented to go through and to also control when people have kids. You know, they're also apparently now making a male pill. Good luck trying to get any guy to take that. But they're now confirming that they're trying to make a male pill, and there's even been trials on a male pill to try and, you know, stop guys from being able to have, you know, project and make kids. And then you've got them doing Freudian slips like this. You've got Bill Gates going through talking about how he wants to reduce a certain amount of the population on a TED Talk. You've got some medical procedures that are causing people to lose the ability to have kids or higher amounts of miscarriages. You know, like it's really not hard to sort of sit there and sort of look at all this and think, yeah, she definitely means reduce the population. But I don't know.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, guys. Next story. ANZ kills cash withdrawals and some branches amid public outcry. So the outcry community members have taken to social media to blast one of the biggest banks' decisions to strip back services across some branches. So there have been public outcry as one of the country's biggest banks revealed it would stop handing cash at some branches, citing significant drops in in-branch transactions. I don't get that. So they're claiming that because they're not getting in-branch transactions, they're now not giving out money. Is that their argument?
Yeah. So not enough people use this service, so we're just not going to offer it anymore. It's like, oh, okay.
But then,
was it really that hard to just have some cash lying around, was it?
But then they're getting this massive outcry of people talking about the fact that they can't withdraw money from a bank.
Interesting how that works.
Which is seemingly counterintuitive to them supposedly not having anybody request money for cash, right?
Yeah.
ANZ told NCA Newswire on Thursday that some services would be stripped, confirming customers would not be able to withdraw cash over the counter in some locations. Alternatively, staff members will assist customers in using on-site smart ATM and coin deposit machines. There are a small number of branches where we no longer handle cash at counters, ANZ spokesman said, and before long we'll see it's on all banks. These branches, cash and check deposits and cash withdrawals can continue to be made by using our smart ATM and coin deposit machines, and we'll have staff on hand to help customers that might be using them for the first time. Thursday announcement has sparked public outcry on social media, with some community members threatening to ditch the bank. Don't blame you. With all the hacking ongoing, it seems crazy to me to try and do away with cash, one person wrote. Any bank that follows this path will lose customers and eventually go broke. No, they won't, because all banks are going to be doing it. It's bad enough that they're going to close branches, wrote another. Some users have called the move utterly ridiculous and disgusting. I'll let a 90-year-old Italian mother know that she can no longer access her own money in a supposedly first world country, one person wrote. These people have no idea what's coming with centralized digital currencies. What were you going to say, buddy?
Yeah, central bank digital currency. Yep, and see, your relationship with your bank is going to change very, very, very fundamentally. In fact, these accounts will actually be held by the federal bank instead.
Yeah, what they want to do is they want to do away with cash, because here's the thing, right? And this is something that Andrew Tate was just talking about in the interview. It's up towards the end. Well, by the way, guys, we're going to spend like a day breaking that whole video down. It's going to be a massive stream. I'll try and do it on a weekend or something. I don't know if you can be available for that, but it's going to be like a 3.5, 4 hour stream. So I get it if you can't. Yeah, I get it if you can't. But it's really important because the stuff he's talking about there is really, really good. But one of the things he says is that at the end of the day, you know, if you remove cash, and then all of a sudden, you know, you've got these digital centralized currencies. Then at the end of the day, the bank can turn around and say to you, well, you can only use that to buy food. Or more specifically, you can only use that to buy fake meat because you've brought too much real meat for this month.
Yeah, the programmability, actually one of the interesting things going on is if you go to government or bank websites, they actually say that sometimes they admit that they could, but that's not what they're going to do. They're not going to be programming the money top down. It's going to be a feature that you can use for yourself or for your child or something like that. However,
does anyone actually believe this shit?
No, I don't think anyone would.
No.
There are Davos clips of people literally talking about how they're going to be programming the money to do all kinds of things, such as handing out stimulus that expire.
Yeah.
You know, things like this. Like
I've actually I've seen that clip where they literally say at Davos that you can program a money to expire. And also, here's the thing too that Andrew also mentioned in that clip, in that video too, was that the banks make 15% every transaction, right? So if you've got cash, you got $50 cash, you go and you give it to your hairdresser, and this is the example he actually uses. You go give it to your hairdresser, and then he gets the $50 or $40, and then with that he then buys food at Coles, for example, and then he goes through and he uses some of the money plus other money from the hair. It doesn't lose value. It's always a $50 note, or it's always a $50 in bills. But if you go to the bank, if you use the ATM, if you use the FPOS, right? You go to the bank and you give them your card, you pay by card. Well, the bank takes 15% from that. And then once that hairdresser then goes and uses his card to go and pay his for food, now all of a sudden they take 15% from that. And then Coles then goes through and buys food, and they use their card to do that. So then all of a sudden they're losing 15%. All of a sudden that $50 that it starts off with, while it's still $50 at the end of it with cash, with FPOS and with digital currencies, that $50 is now worth about $10. And like this is the thing too. In Australia, we have GST and stuff, so you know we're losing more than 15%, or 5%, or whatever the money was, the amount that he talked about. I think it's about 5% the banks take, isn't it? Something per transaction. So at the end of the day, you know, like I say, and then this is obviously what he's talking about is with like digital currencies or with cards and with, you know, not real money, there is no real value to it. It's just perceived value. It's perceived value with real money too. But you lose a portion of that money every time you spend it. With cash, it stays the same. It's always that $50 note. Anything else we want to talk about with this ANZ besides them, you know, like totally screwing us with like digital central currencies?
No, that was the crux of the story. I found out about it from seeing a story about a woman who tried to get $3,500 out and she couldn't do it, and ended up closing her account with ANZ and went to a different place and transferred her money and then got her cash. It's like, that works for now.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is, I just find it weird that they're closing branches as well, not just like you know, they're closing branches and they're removing the cash. The other thing is a lot of times ATMs are at branches. So when they're closing these branches, they're also closing the ATMs at that location.
Yeah.
So ATMs are also basically going out the window slowly. It's very strange stuff, but I mean, people need to pay attention to this. Otherwise, yeah, CBDCs I think is going to be the I think they could, like, if the lack of the term, a magnum opus of control. I think that if we lose the cash and we end up on CBDCs, I think it's over.
So
the fight is over.
The currency that's the biggest threat is this BRICS, BRICS.
Oh yeah.
So BRICS is the new currency that could set a challenge for domination of the dollar. It's South Africa will host the leaders of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. But yeah, this is they're claiming that they'll have cash, but I've also heard that BRICS is also going to heavily invest in crypto and digital currency. But yeah, it's like these digital currencies are coming. And if people aren't clear or smart enough, they're going to lose everything. People have to start waking up to this sort of stuff. All right, final story for the day. mRNA jabs for cattle in Australia. Will meat and dairy be safe anymore? Oof. New South Wales government has taken another step towards fast-tracking the world's first mRNA vaccine for foot and mouth disease. The lumpy skin disease, inking a deal... Who wrote this? Inking a deal with US biotech company Biotech. Deputy Prime Minister and Premier and Minister of Regional New South Wales, Paul Toole, interesting last name, said today's marks an important milestone towards securing the vaccine technology that will protect Australia's $28.7 billion livestock industry. The New South Wales Nationals in government are taking the threat of foot and mouth disease and lumpy skin disease extremely serious. Really? Because we hear about it all the time, right? And as milestone is set another step forward in preparing for potential outbreak. I have now written to vaccine manufacturers to take up my challenge to develop both vaccines ready for use and manufacture in New South Wales by the 1st of August next year. I'm going to have to start buying a farm, am I? New South Wales... So the bad virus that we can't say demonstrated to us that possible avenues in developing vaccines must be explored and will leave no stone unturned. I don't know if I would go through and mention the bad virus from China as a reason why we need mRNA techniques. I'm just saying it's probably akin to arguing that we need guns because that way we can shoot people. It's not a real good argument. I'm just saying. Don't get me wrong. I'm pro First and Second Amendment, but at the end of the day, you don't want to go making an argument that, like, for example, I need a gun because I want to be a school shooter. Kind of counterproductive. It is critical that we develop mRNA technologies for foot and mouth disease and lumpy skin as quickly as possible to protect our state's livestock. The threat of foot and mouth disease is ongoing, and there are concerns lumpy skin could enter North Australia this coming wet season. So it's critical we continue to do what we can as quickly as we can.
Yeah, I find it interesting that they want to bring in these Mu RNA shots for cattle. But one of the things that's just a little bit strange is why would they take the cattle industry so seriously when they want to get rid of meat? And the other thing too is does Australian government really care about cattle?
No.
Or the farming industry generally, when they allow the water to get all used up and basically our massive rivers are drying up
Yeah.
and farmers are losing cattle left, right, and center?
Oh yeah, the amount of water that is siphoned out of the Murray River, for example, for Coca-Cola and Pepsi is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, the Murray River is basically it's not going to exist soon.
No, well, it's even to certain points now. It's more of a trickle than anything.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
As for them making the argument, well, it's not unheard of that they would go down this route, because this is the same thing they claim for, the virus that we shouldn't name. They claimed we were doing it for your safety. We're doing it for, to protect families, right? It's always under the guise of protecting people. And well, while I'm not against, I suppose I am now, But at the time, I suggested my mum, who's 70, and my dad's 71, I suggested them go through and get the poke, right? Because they were 70 and 71. But I also said, stop it too. But what I was going to say was, at the end of the day, like that, they were sold the poke because of it's better for you. It's going to save your life, right? Well, now they're doing the same thing with cattle. Like, hey, well, you don't want the cows to die, right? So we're going to have to give them this. And playing devil's advocate here, what if this mRNA technology is designed to kill the cows?
It could be that. Or it could be
or even just a side effect.
Maybe, yeah. My guess is that it's going to get all up in the meat, and then you're going to eat the meat, and then it's going to do things to you. So.
Well, that's the interesting thing too. So, Meat and Livestock Managing Director said mRNA vaccines had additional benefits for the livestock sector, but there's no sort of mention here about whether it can be passed on to us.
Yeah. That's the question.
Like, are we going to start eating the meat and then all of a sudden, start having, getting some of the side effects of this thing? Is it going to infect us?
Yeah.
And what do you do if you go through and you mass vax every cow in Australia? What, you can't just breed it out of them. It's not like it's a temporary thing. It's in their DNA. If they have kids, are their kids also going to have the mRNA vaccine in them as well?
Yeah, they'll be mooing too.
Well, I mean, like so, for example, like cows, right? So the way cattle farmers normally work is that they have cows, they breed them, they inseminate them. Don't ask how. Mm-hmm. And then they...
I know how they do it.
Glove and a very large sponge. But a great big syringe. But what I was going to say was...
Have you seen the device that they use?
Oh, dude, it's huge.
It's got buttons on it.
Yeah. My grandfather used to be a dairy farmer, so I've definitely seen it. But what I was going to say was... But yeah, they go through and then they produce the cattle, the calves, who then they go through and then they fatten them up and then they sell them off for meat. And then obviously when the breeding stock, the bulls and the cows get too old, they replace them with the younger ones. So, like, say for example, mum and pop get the poke, so to speak. Well then, any cows that they produce after that are then also going to have the mRNA technology in them as well. So it's not like you can be like, well, hey, you lost all your cattle. Sorry, but hey, we'll just breed you some more, because they're all going to have this issue then. That's my complaint, is if you go through and you mass vax the cattle farm, well, then we're not going to have cows to replace the ones if they do die, because they're all going to be vaxxed. Yeah. I don't know. Can we stop fucking around with nature?
That would be nice.
I remember there was an ad on TV a little while ago, a couple of years back, and they were going on about how, like, the humans tried to evolve everything, and like there was a mum and it was like a father and son, and they were sitting in this forest, and all the trees were holograms. It was a milk ad, and he basically the kid said to his dad, "What happened to all the trees, Dad?" The dad says, "Oh, son," he says, we tried to make them better, and we ended up killing them all off." The kid says, "Yeah, did they try that with milk?" And he goes, "Oh, they tried, son." He says, "But the milk is perfect." And it's these guys sitting down having a glass of milk. Here's another question that people might not have thought of. If these cows produce milk, is the mRNA technique or vaccine going to be in the milk?
Yes, it will. The only reason I can say that is because we're aware that the mRNA pokes
goes into breast milk.
Breast milk into babies in humans.
Yep.
So yes.
For up to 6 months, I think it is. We're not sure if it's permanent or if it's just for 6 months, but I've heard at the moment they're saying it's just for 6 months. But yeah, dude, I don't know. Can someone build a spaceship and get us out of here? Like,
Sure.
Yeah, like, dude,
I mean, we can pretend. I can build it in Space Engineers.
Oh. I can build an Imperium.
Yeah, that game is fun too.
Guys, let us know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. Personally, yeah, we might want to start buying some cows. Or a spaceship. Spaceship might be good. Alright, guys, apart from that, is there anything else we want to talk about before we wrap it up? Yep.
Oh, yeah. One little quick fun one. You heard of... what was it? 1 second, I'll send you the link.
Gotcha.
This was interesting. Here, I just sending it to you to bring up. Fun little UFO story. There you go.
Ah, cool. Let's deal with UFOs. Everybody loves a UFO.
Yeah, this is also another Aussie one. I've got it's a lot of Aussie.
You're really hammering the Aussie stuff tonight, aren't you?
Yeah.
Australian Space Agency says mystery item on Greenhead Beach could be part of a foreign space launch vehicle. Okay, but alright, so this is where they play creative word games. Because everybody sees this and thinks UFO. But a foreign space launch vehicle could be a Russian rocket too.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the item though, and I'm like, what the hell is that?
I think it's a booster off a rocket.
You think so?
Yeah. But let's get into it. The Australian Space Agency says an unidentified object was washed up on a remote beach in Western Australia. Could be a part of a foreign-launched rocket. There you go. Police have been guarding the mysterious item for most of the day, and the states and federal authority trying to work out what it is. Well, if it's a rocket, there should be an exhaust point. Just, hypothetically.
It's intact, which also just gets me. It's like, how is it not... like, if that fell at terminal velocity out of orbit as space junk, when it hit the beach, first of all, the sand would not be so neatly around it like that, and they say it washed up, right?
Yeah, I don't think it hit the beach. I think it hit the water, because it looks like there's a whole bunch of barnacles on it. And if you
yeah, true.
And if you look at that second image, right, and you zoom in at the back, there looks like there's a rip or a damage that's bad happened at the bottom back of that. I think it's a booster.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, we could be looking at the top part of the booster.
Yep.
Because so in the sand, in the sand is probably where where the actual exhaust was coming out.
Oh, that, or it's broken off into pieces, and that's just the top part.
Yeah, true. That could be as well.
But let's keep going. So WA police will maintain security of the object until it's removed, and members of the public are requested to stay away from the location. as if that is ever going to happen.
It'll draw a crowd.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm thinking about getting over there. In a series of Twitter posts on Monday afternoon, the Australian Space Agency said it has been helping police to identify the item. Here's a question for you. If you don't want people to turn up, don't put it on freaking Twitter!
Yeah.
The object could be from a foreign space launch vehicle, they say. Yeah, it's a Russian rocket or something. Or American. Might be Chinese too, because the Chinese are trying to go to the moon. We are liaising with global counterparts who might be able to provide more information. So police say the object did not appear to have originated from a commercial aircraft. That has been speculated on social media. Here we go. We actually do have a photo of it. Looking at the... Okay, so if you look at the photo... A, it's covered in barnacles, so it's been in the water for a while. And B, that looks like it's been, like, severely damaged. So I don't think there's anything buried in the sand. I think it's washed up on the beach. But I think what it is, like, for example, this is probably like a booster rocket. And it's probably smashed into pieces as it hit the water. This has just happened to be the big piece of it. But anyway, police say the object did not appear to... Sometime yesterday, a local lady and her partner discovered it just floating on the edge of the water and dragged it out with their four-wheel drive. God, I love fucking Aussies. Mate, what's that, darling? That looks like a UFO. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to throw a rope around it and we're going to drag it out with our 4x4. Alright, darling. I'll wrap it around you, drive. And the sort of semi-silicon object made light carbon fiber material and lightweight resin. It is sort of 4.5 meters across by 4.5 meters to 5 meters long. Yeah, it's just part of it, though. Mr. Griffin...
Probably carbon fiber of higher quality than what the Titan used.
oh God. That was a rather large bang for that, wasn't it? No, I tell you now, those people in that Titan sub, they were full of hot air, but now they're not. Mr. Griffin, and ironically, if you're going to name something Titanic or Titan, and you're going to explore the Titanic, maybe just rename the freaking sub to something that's, not related to the fucking Titanic.
Or just don't use carbon fiber, because carbon fiber is good at tensile strength, not compression strength.
Yeah, well, also there was also reports that the carbon fiber had a lot of cracks and had a lot of defects in it too. Mr. Griffin said it was being guarded from 8 a.m. on Monday. However, locals were at the site the night before. Of course we were. So police have asked people not to speculate about what the item could be. Oops, too late. But Mr. Griffin said the Google police have offered some suggestions because we don't listen to our police unless they got to lock us in our homes. Then we listen to them very much. They were barnacles and marine life growing on it, he said. It may not be dangerous and maybe of our Shire might be a little boring or Lockheed airline companies. Someone dropped space junk. I think it's a rocket engine, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a round thing that usually would be used on that kind of thing.
Stage 2 booster engine of a rocket. That's my guess. Yep, keep going.
Yeah, and it's not the main cylinder of it. That the main body of a booster is so big that it would make you look like an ant. That's probably the actual like a small thruster part. Yeah.
So Google search stage 2 of a booster.
Yeah. Also, stage 1 is bigger. Yeah, that's another thing. That's what. Yeah, specifically stage 2. Yeah. It might be off a satellite as well.
Might be.
Does look old though, doesn't it?
Do you reckon it could be one of the Falcon 9 rockets engines?
Falcon 9. Was it a rapid unscheduled disassembly?
Poor Elon. He just wants to go to the moon.
Wants to go to Mars.
How big is a booster seat? No. Rocket engine, dude. Rocket engine. Fucking Google. Rocket engine.
A booster seat.
Multi-stage rockets. Here we go. Alright. Let's chat GPT this thing. Chat GPT.
GPT. Do you have access to the GPT-4? Like, you pay for it?
Yes. I have that as well as the free one.
Wow.
Right. So, new search. Alright. What are the dimensions of a stage 2 rocket? Oh my freaking god. For some reason it doesn't like Chrome anymore.
Oh, okay. It doesn't like the most popular browser on the world. Yep.
Sorry, it doesn't like Brave, sorry.
Brave is Chrome.
Yeah. ChatGPT, here we go. Let's try it now. Right, so as of my latest update in September 2020, two-stage rockets are the broad term that's certified to the. For instance, some of the multi-stage rockets, SpaceX. Right. Any of them 2.5 meters by about 2.5 meters in diameter. There was no widely known operational rockets with a stage of exactly 2.5. However, it's worth noting that the rocket design's configure can change over time. So, as of the time following, some examples of rockets with second stage diameter close to 2.5. So the Falcon 9 is 3.66 meters. The Atlas V rocket is 3.8. The Delta has a variation or a diameter of 5 meters, which is way too big. Several rockets and boosters have the diameters range of 2.5. So the Airline 5 solid rocket booster, that is around 3 meters, 3.05.
Solid fuel. That's old, yeah.
The Airline 5 solid rocket booster. So the Airline 5 rocket, operated by something, uses two-stage rockets. The Space Launch System, or SLL, uses developed by NASA, is 3.7, 3.8 for the Delta V or Delta IV. The Falcon Heavy is 3.6, and then the other one's 7.4. So I'm guessing it's a rocket engine, bro. I guess would be. Rocket engine. Has anyone on YouTube gone through and talked about this?
No, not that I know of, no.
UFO on Western Australian beach. Anyway. Alright, apart from that, anything else we want to talk about? Oh, we're done for the day.
All good.
Oh, goody, goody, good. Alright, guys, let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Do you think it's a rocket? Do you think it's an alien? Do you think it's typical Australian to go out and try and drag it out with his car? Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Apart from that, guys, obviously the video has been helpful. Please smack that like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Obviously, clips will be cut up and posted on YouTube. I'm sorry they weren't done on Sunday or yesterday. I've been flat out. I just got home. I had to drive 2.5 hours. Holy shit. That was a mission. But anyway, have a great night, guys. Enjoy yourself. And although I did listen to Andrew Tate while I was driving, so it was pretty cool. Have a great night, guys. Enjoy yourself, and we'll see you tomorrow. You want to say bye?
See us.
You want to give them a wave because they can't see us?